Constructing your life is about much more than just building a bank account. Each week, join real estate entrepreneur and mindset coach Austin Linney as he interviews guests who are constructing their dream lives and impacting the world around them on a daily basis. If you're an entrepreneur or wanting to start a business, or you just want to hear motivating stories of how others have overcome the odds, you are in the right place. And now for your host, Austin Linney.
Guys, welcome back to Construct Your Life. This is Austin Linney here. I have the pleasure, nor the honor. Guys, she might interview herself. That's how prepared she is, because this woman right here is one of the most inspiring humans I've ever met in my life. Buckle in, boys and girls. We have Doreen in the house. Doreen, how are you doing today?
Doing good. Rise and shine.
So I'm not even going to try to cover everything that you do, because you're a real estate agent, you're a wholesaler, you're about to get in the Airbnb game, you're a mom, you're a wife, you're so many things. But it didn't start that way. So let's talk about the journey, right? I'll let you start where you want to start, and then we'll go from there.
Well, I'm originally from Pflugerville, Texas. When I graduated high school, I didn't really know what I wanted to do. So I worked at Dell Computers for a year. In their boxing section, just because that's what my brothers did and they were successful at it. So I did the same thing, but I was there for a year and I quickly realized that wasn't for me. So I applied for nursing school and I got in a small town close to Amarillo called Clarendon, Texas. So I went there, went to nursing school, graduated, and came back home. When I got back home, got a nursing job. My first nursing job was, home health and assisted livings. And my first client was a real estate investor. Mm-hmm. And so he had Parkinson's disease and, a lot of health issues, but I would help him one-on-one. And, after a while, we were friends and I would tell him about what's going on in my life. And I was complaining about my apartment. He's like, why don't you buy a house? And I'm like, I don't know about buying a house. Like, what are you talking about? He's like, I'll help you. So, he had Parkinson's, so he couldn't stand on his own and do a lot of things on his own, but his mind was still right. So he taught me how to buy my first home. He taught me about buying investment properties, rental properties. He was trying to get me to buy some billboards. But I was helping him and he was helping me, So I was, working my nursing job, but also investing in real estate. And he taught me about credit. He taught me about buying your first home. He walked me through on buying my second, third home, rental properties, cash flow, managing. He taught me everything. So fast forward, I was a nurse for 20 years. And, it got to the point where, I still love being a nurse. It's nothing negative against nursing, but it's a very hard, tedious job. One day I got to the point where I was on bed rest. I was pregnant and I was on bed rest and I wasn't getting paid anything. And then I had the baby and I was at home, maternity leave, not getting paid anything. And my husband and I, we have rental, money coming in. We had savings, but I was like, I got to do something to bring some money in. So I just Googled how to make money from home. And I found this wholesaling video. And I had some experience doing real estate before. So I thought, well, maybe I could do this. So I stayed up and watched the Flip Man, all the people that do wholesaling, watched them for about an hour. I ordered one book, read the book. And then I was like, well, I started joining all the groups, all over on Facebook, went to a couple meetups, and then I just dived in. Mm-hmm. And I got my first wholesale deal just by calling a for sale by owner on Zillow.
How much was that first deal?
The first deal, I put it under contract at $143. She had it on Zillow for $165.
Okay.
ARV was about $240.
Okay. So
I thought,
how did you get her to agree to the lower price that she had it listed on Zillow?
When I first went to go see the property, I offered her $165, but I told her, I went on my lunch break. I'm a nurse, and when I got there, I was very intimidated. There were a lot of construction guys, people with belts and measuring tapes and taking pictures. And I was in my nursing scrubs on my lunch break. And I got there and I was like, I can do $165 for this. I said, but I do want you to realize that I'm not a contractor. I said, I'm a nurse. I'm here. I listened to her. I wasn't just trying to look at the house. I wanted to know, how best can I help you? What are your goals? And she told me about her dad. He had passed away, about their relationship, how she hadn't talked to him about 15 years. He left her this house. It needed a lot of repairs. She doesn't have the money to repair it. She was here from out of town, came for the funeral, and found out she got this home. And she didn't really have time to deal with, putting it and listing it and dealing with all that. So she just really wanted it done. And I think I just really connected to her, understanding her empathy with losing her dad and understanding their relationship and what was going on. So I put it under contract, but I told her, look, I'm a nurse. I'm not a contractor. So I have an option period. During my option period, my guys are going to come out here and do an inspection and tell me everything that's wrong with the house. And hopefully I can stay at this number. To be honest, it may have to go down. So she signed the contract. During that time, I Googled and I got all the free inspections that I could. Free roof inspection, foundation inspection, AC inspection, like anything that would give me a free inspection. And then I provided her with those inspection reports, and I got her to lower that price.
Amazing. And what did you wind up finally assigning that contract for?
I assigned it. Oh, it's been 3 years now. It's so funny. I drove by that house the other day and I thought, oh, that's my first house. I assigned it right at 163.
So you made some money. And
oh yeah, I made money.
You sold it. And I'm sure that was like an aha moment. Oh my goodness. Like, cause I would imagine, what is that? Like 3 months, 2.5 months worth of nurse salary for one deal.
Oh yeah.
So that was like, oh my goodness. Right.
I was like, I did this on my lunch break. You know? And I'm like, I feel like I'm still nursing almost. Nursing, most people get into nursing to help people, right? And so I felt like I helped that homeowner because she had no idea what she was going to do.
Yeah.
And I presented her with the facts. This is what the roof is going to cost. The foundation is going to cost. The AC is going to cost. There's mold. There's this, there's that. I want to get this done for you. And I want to make sure it gets done in a timely manner so you can get home. I said, but this is the number that we're at.
It's crazy because, I'm about to do a video on how to present a property to an investor because I'm tired of wholesalers giving me crappy details. And, it's like a $30 million deal. And they're like, here you go. Do you want it? And I'm like, well, I mean, could we get some details? Because the more work you do on the front end, right, the more communication, the more clear you are with the contract through the thing, then you've given yourself a good stance to get the dollar that you want. And that's where I think wholesaling gets a bad name. There's a lot of people giving it a bad name, but it also can be a way out for a lot of people because they don't have the resources or the time to sell it themselves. And so you got the first deal and then you were like probably off to the races, right?
Yeah, I was just like, and I think that kind of sets me apart from some of the wholesalers. It's like I think that's what made the deal go faster is that when I presented it to my buyer, I'm like, here are all the estimates I've gotten for this home. Yes, it's for sale. It's for sale as is. You can have a one-time walkthrough, but I'm also providing you with these estimates that have already been done. Mm-hmm. So I think that made it go smooth. But so once I could finish that first transaction, I was just like, I couldn't believe it. I was like, I did this? I'm like, you know what? I can do this again. All wholesaling is finding a person with a problem, seeing the best way you can help them with that problem, getting it at the right numbers and making them understand why you have to get at the right numbers and connecting them to a buyer. Mm-hmm. I was like, that's all I have to do? I was like, oh, it's on and popping.
So in that first couple months, so that was a Zillow. How many deals did you do within that first like 6 months, 8 months?
I would say about 8. Okay. I started.
How much, if you just had to ballpark the revenue on that, do you think? If you just had to...
Each one of them were, my minimum wholesale fee is about $10K.
Okay. So somewhere maybe around 80 to 90,000, give or take. Yeah. Right.
Yeah.
So that's like a holy crap.
That's like a year of my nursing salary. I mean, I was making $85,000 annually.
Okay.
And I mean, I've been a nurse 20 years. So, I mean, that was a really good salary for me as a nurse, as my family, as the only person that's ever gone to college in my family, to be making that good salary. I was amazed.
But something that's important that's not talked about enough. And this is what people don't talk about in wholesaling, flipping, and multifamily enough. You also position yourself as somebody that could get a deal done.
Yeah.
And when you do that, regardless of the money, that people then bring more deals to you. And that's something that's not talked about enough, correct?
Correct. I think it's, your ethics and, the way you carry yourself. And, I have other people reach out to me all the time, about maybe a wholesale deal they're buying from somewhere else. And they're like, you are a credible wholesaler. And I just want to ask you a question. I'm like, sure. How can I help? This person was buying a wholesale deal from someone else. And I wasn't going to be like, I'm not making any money from this. No. How can I help you? And she went over everything. And I was like, yeah, if you want me to walk that property with you or look over his contract, I will. I said, but something about that doesn't sound right, But yeah, I think it's your reputation and being credible,
Yeah, and I think that's not talked about enough because everybody's so worried about the transactional relationship instead of understanding that the amount of social capital and that you can build up over a long period of time, eventually, and that's what people don't get is like, I have a mentor that's been wholesaling about 7 years and, he makes somewhere around $800,000 a year, but he doesn't do any marketing from that because people know him as a guy who can get a deal done and he does it respectfully. And so, be careful how much you're nickel and diming people in the beginning because you're not going to retire off of one wholesale. You're going to retire off of, a lifetime of 10 years or 15 years worth of wholesales.
Exactly. And, I have so many things in my hat besides wholesaling that I'm very careful of my relationships. Like even I met with someone and when I first reached out to him, he was very angry and he was cussing at me because I was texting him because he was in foreclosure. And I was like, overall, I'm just trying to help you. And he's like, why the F-bomb would you want to help me if you're not going to make money? And I said, I'm not just into this to make money. I can send you my reviews that I've helped people. I've gone to try to get someone's house in the wholesale deal and they ended up getting, approved for modification or anything like that, but later down the road, they gave my card to another person. Now I'm listing their house or, things like that, So, I went to one wholesaling little class or group or whatever. And they were like, if you're in wholesaling to help people, you shouldn't be in this industry. And I'm like, how everybody approaches their business is different.
Yeah.
If someone's facing foreclosure, I'm in a business. I'm in the business to make money, but not every deal I'm going to make money. I'm still a person, know? So I think it just really goes a long way,
100%. So let's dive into some of those other tactics that you talked about that you find worked for you and kind of you've groomed over the years, because I know you do some owner financing. I know you're also an agent yourself too. So there's a lot going on. So why don't you share some of that other stuff?
Yeah. So currently me and my husband, we have, buy and hold rental properties where we have, standard tenants. We do also have properties that we have purchased and sold with owner financing, like on a wrap, which I love selling with owner financing now versus just regular renting, because they actually buy the house and something goes wrong. They don't call me. You bought it, you fix it. And we're actually like the Waco property that we sold with owner financing, we bought it with seller financing. The seller required for us to put $5,000 down and he sold it to us for $60,000 with an interest rate of 5%. And then we sold it on a wrap with seller financing, and we required $10,000 down so that we got our down payment back. And we sold the house at $99,000 at a 10% interest rate.
Okay. Hold on, because that was gangster, and I don't know if anybody's ever heard that before. So let's break it down, soup to nuts, on that one. So you let me see if I'm understanding. You found a property. The seller sold you for $60,000.
Yes.
5,000 down on How much percentage?
5%.
5%. And then you went out and sold that house to another investor, which is a wrap note. Guys, if you don't know what a wrap note is, they're technically buying the property from you and paying the note, but they're not closing on the property per se in a traditional mortgage route. Am I correct?
Correct.
Okay. But you sold that on 10,000, and then you're actually making cash flow off so just so everybody understands, so I didn't confuse everybody, she only paid 5,000, got the money back. The owner of said property is financing her, and then they're financing the now in buyer is financing her, that's insane.
It's awesome. So it's better than having a rental property because I still cash flow every month. Well, and then just to back up, I actually got paid $5,000 at closing, about close to like 4,000 something once fees and stuff. So I bought a house and walked away with money. And still, I'm going to be cash flowing a little bit over $400 every month. But instead of it being a rental property and they calling me when something goes wrong, you bought it, you fix it. So that's just another exit strategy that we have. And now we are under contract with the condo that I found off market. And then our goal with that is to Airbnb it or corporate leasing, short-term leasing, just any exit strategy besides regular landlord.
One of the things that they don't also understand is because it's a wrap or because it's a owner finance, it doesn't go on your credit report. So
Nope.
so technically you can, that's not going to hurt you when you're trying to buy another property. But basically the reason I'm highlighting this so much with the owner finance of the condo and the wrap and all these things is that I would say on a weekly basis, I get 6 phone calls saying, we want to invest, but we got to wait another year and a half to save up money because we can't afford it. But what you're saying is there's a million options available to buy properties without your own money.
Yeah, there's all type of properties. And the main thing is I always look for owner finance or distressed sellers or, pre-foreclosure or probates or something like that, someone that will be open to the owner finance. And this particular seller, he was like, yeah, I don't really need the money. So, he wanted us to pay cash. And I'm like, or have our own financing. I'm like, we don't have the cash. And it's really hard for me to get financing for only $60,000. I said, we've tried. I had my lender call them. They have good credit. I have good credit, He said, but it's hard to find a lender under 100,000. I said, look, I'm going to pay you. I'm going to pay on time. You have my credit report. I have no late payments. I said, but I really, really want this house. And I said, we can do owner financing. One thing that kind of got him to agree is that I agreed to use what they call a loan servicer. A loan servicer, you can think of a loan servicer just like a property manager. When you have a rental property, you have a property manager, right? The property manager collects the money, does all the taxes, sends you your money. The loan servicer kind of does the same thing. It's a professional management company for owner finance transactions. So with the wrap, the person that I sold the house to pays me my money. From that money, the loan servicer pays the original homeowner their money to pay my first loan. And then I get a check every month of the difference. And then at the end of the year, the loan servicer sends us all of our tax documents. In the event that one of us didn't pay, they would be responsible for like the foreclosure process. They keep track of the escrow. They keep track of the insurance. There is like a $25 a month fee for the loan servicer, but I made my end buyer pay that.
I'm curious. Like one of my things that I'm on right now is that everybody complains that the information is not available and they really just don't want to take action. So where did you find out about all these things? How did you even know to do these things?
I watch everything on YouTube and I joined lots of Facebook groups. I wanted to know about owner finance, seller finance, wraps, all those different things. I went on Facebook and I put on, a little comment, who does owner finance, seller finance, wraps, and things like that. I had a couple people reach out to me. I offered to buy them lunch, offered to do those type of things. We would go over some things. I watched a lot of YouTube. I reached out to some of the prominent attorneys here in the Austin area that close on subject to and wraps. You know what? If you reach out to them, they'll take you to lunch. And then they'll teach you anything you need to know. You know why? Because they want you to bring all your files to them because they can make money. So they don't mind teaching you what you need to know. Even when I said, I have a contract, I'm writing it up, I'm not sure if it looks right. He said, Doreen, send it to me first. I'll look over all the details for you before you have the buyer and seller sign, and then you can open title with me.
I love it.
Ring, ring, ring. It's like you can't be shy when it comes to learning. It's like I write down my goals and everything that I want to achieve, and then I look at who could help me achieve those goals. I just ask. The worst they can say is no. So I emailed 3 of the attorneys that here in the Austin area that I know do subject tos and wraps and close on those type of transactions. I just asked for help, and they gave it to me.
And, I guess my next question would be to all the moms out there, to all the people that are swamped, and trying to keep the house going and everything. And I'm not saying everybody's got to go be an agent and a wholesaler. That's not what I'm saying. But how do you get everything done in a day? Most people are overwhelmed or overconsumed with certain things, how do you focus on what needs to get done every day?
I think that's always going to be a challenge and a struggle. I think that's going to be anyone, whether you're working independently, having a 9 to 5. If you're a mom, it's just hard to juggle it all. But I think the main thing is really having a schedule and trying to stick to that schedule. Before COVID, every other Friday was date night with me and the hubby, because that's important too. 2 Saturdays a month, I pick a child, and that's mommy daughter day. There's certain days that we clean the whole house one room at a time. I think it's just really important to have that schedule. And I think that keeps you from being overwhelmed. And the kids and the husband, everyone gets used to that schedule. If something's off, my daughter Sanaya, she'd be like, today's Sunday. How come we're not up yet? You didn't turn on the music? Are we cleaning? And I'm like, I just want to sleep, Sanaya. Can I sleep for 10 minutes? And she walks away, and I hear in the distance, Alexa, set the alarm for 10 minutes. I'm like,
hey, you did this to yourself. Yeah. No, I love it. I love it because it's so inspirational, because what I'm trying to get across with the podcast or any content I'm putting out is that your goals need to be your goals. And what I mean by that is that I'm not saying you got to quit your job. I'm not saying you got to take time away from your kids. But guys, what if you learn how to do, 2 wraps a year and like 6 wholesales, right? And you created another $50,000 worth of revenue. Wouldn't that take a lot of stress off? Or would that be a vacation to Europe, or, whatever? Or would your husband be able to retire a couple years earlier? Like, these are the things that people look at it and go, I can't do it, but you can do it. And it doesn't matter who you are, where you came from. Everything's available to everybody, but you have to have the right attitude to push through it. And really what it is, and I was just talking about this on a previous podcast, it's the first one.
Yeah.
Because after you get the first one, it feels like that momentum just gets rolling. Wouldn't you agree? I would imagine being an agent, aside from wholesaling, there's a lot of I had a guy text me the other day, no BS, because I want to see your face when I say this. He told me that if he were to get his license, it was going to take him 3 years till he could get it together. Like, shouldn't you prepare to be broke? And I'm like, what are you talking about?
What are you talking about?
I met a guy the other day that got his license in March. He's done 20 deals already. Like, what are you talking about? Like, it's just such a different. I said, why would you listen to somebody that doesn't even do this? That doesn't even make sense.
Yeah, no, there's no reason. If you set up your mind and, write down your goals and make it happen, and get up and make it happen. And, just one other thing about, being a mom, a realtor, a wholesaler, investor, a landlord, all those different things. I think one of the important things too is not to be afraid to ask for help, because I was so used to getting everything done and so proficient, I was getting a little overwhelmed. Mm-hmm. And my husband was like, well, I can do that. And I'm like, I get so used to just doing my to-do list and trying to knock it out. It's just take a step back, mm-hmm. and know when to ask for help, mm-hmm. know when to let people help you as well. I think as a mom, we say, we get overwhelmed, like we're the caregiver, I think it's like, there's a diagnosis, I think it was like broken mom syndrome, where you go to work and work, you come home and work. Basically, you go to work and work, and then you come home and cook and clean and take care of the kids and is that you can't get in that cycle and then not feeling like you can't ask anyone for help. And I think that's really important too. I think some moms get so proud of, well, I'm going to cook, or I'm going to clean, I'm going to do this and this and this. And you have to figure out ways to allow other people to help you. What I did is I looked at the chores that I don't like to do.
I know.
And I tried to figure out a way that I could eliminate it. Mm-hmm. I don't like folding laundry. I have a 12-year-old daughter. I ordered her an allowance green light card. And I added chores on her card that she could make $2 to $3 per basket of laundry that she folds and put away. Whew. I come home, laundry is folded and put away. There's 5 of us in our house. That laundry stacks fast. Mm-hmm. No. So it's like, don't let things overwhelm you. And I think that's important to remember as well.
Yeah, because at the end of the day, the unit that is a family, right, it is technically your own team, right? And so if you're not utilizing the team, then you're going to set yourself up for failure. Yeah. And I'm guilty of this. everybody I run into is guilty of this, because we're trying to get somewhere, right? Where we're trying to get somewhere where we want to be, we want to be better, right? Like, who doesn't want to be better, right? But I also think that and I'm learning this, not not amazingly, but I want to help so much that I overstack my calendar, and then I start feeling the stress, and then it and then you have to back off the pedal, when ultimately, as long as somebody's not going to hurt themselves. Now, granted, some of the guys I coach are in recovery, so it's a little bit different. But as long as they're, they can wait a week or two. But it's stuck in my brain. Okay, let's just have the conversation. But you're also putting yourself in a bind.
Yeah.
Too, right. So you have to, if you talk to anybody of my coaching clients, I think their number one, problem besides mental stuff is scheduling. They just, because I was listening to something the other day, and he was like, if you don't schedule family time or other thing, then it's just going to get thrown to the wayside. So you have to treat it almost just like your job. It's part of the job. And I would imagine you do that, correct?
Correct. And we even have a family calendar on iCloud. And so my husband has an iPhone and my kids have little iPads or whatever. And so they can go to their little calendar and see, oh, where are y'all going for date night next week on Friday? Well, the 13th is Sanaya's day, or, they they look forward to those things. And it's super, super important to them, So, but yeah, I think I am a big believer of scheduling things. Mm-hmm.
And to all those new agents out there, newer agents, which we run into a lot, what, one or two, three things would you give them advice wise on something that they could focus on that would maybe in their first year or first 6 months that would truly, set them up for success to have a long, successful career?
For some reason, I still might see myself as a newer agent. I've been wholesaling for 3.5 years, but I've been an agent now for a year. Mm-hmm. And, it was hard for me to do that transition kind of, almost I became an agent so I can have another exit strategy, right? I didn't want it to be where, okay, you didn't want my wholesale fee, but then I've been talking to you for 2 months and then you go list your $500,000 house with someone off of, Zillow, even though I've been talking to you, but I wasn't licensed. So I got my license to be able to have that another exit strategy. As a new agent, I think it's good to implement yourself a schedule, setting your goals for the year. I think, my husband's newly licensed. He's been licensed for about a month. And I've been taking him through each transaction one at a time and thoroughly training him on those transactions. Right now, he's thoroughly trained on leasing. He knows how to post ads. He knows how to get lease clients. He knows all the questions to ask the leasing. He, knows how to do the applications. He knows how to get paid. He knows how to do everything about leasing. Some people get so overwhelmed that they just want to, learn everything. And I think sometimes it's best to start from one thing and learn it top to bottom. And then moving on to the next type of transactions, and being proficient in it. Now he's good with leasing. So now we're going to be starting to train on buying and selling homes and advertising. After that, we're going to move on to brand new homes, working with new home builders. Everyone is different, but I just feel like if you, learn something, and he's been good at that for over a month now. He's just been so busy with his leasing clients that we haven't moved forward. But I always feel like, knowing something proficiently versus being all scattered is just really good. And then, training. I signed up for all type of trainings through my board of realtors, through the title companies, all the free training I could get from title companies. I was scooping it up. And then you pay to be a board member. So anything that was free with the board, I was scooping it up. And then, the importance of networking. I get so many clients just from Facebook, not doing paid for ads or anything like that. I am a part of almost any investment group in Austin that you could think of, and major buy and sell and free groups, like garage sale groups around, all the cities that are around me. So anytime anyone posts anything, real estate related, I'm responding. And then I am posting a big picture of my card. all throughout Facebook, anything that I can help people. I mean, because I get phone calls. Like, I got 3 clients yesterday. It was like, hey, I saw your card on Facebook. I'm looking to buy a house this year and then another one every year for the next 6 years, and then I'm going to retire. She just saw my card on a garage sale post. Somebody was like selling everything in their house. It said selling everything in my house because we're losing it. And I said, I said, I'm so sorry that you're losing your home. I would love to talk to you to see if I can help you with anything with that. And I posted my card. I told her I stop foreclosures. I help people with evictions and things like that. And of course, there's no charge to you. And I posted my card. And this woman called me. She was like, that was so nice of you. She goes, I'm looking to buy a home this year and then one every year for the next 6 years. I was like, oh, I love to work with you. So it's like, and I would say the last thing is don't be afraid to slide into people's DMs. I slide into people's DMs all the time to talk about real estate. And especially when I see somebody will post something, oh, I'm looking for a realtor, I'm looking for a home, right? And everybody will reply, give me a call. You should call me. Here's my email. La, 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 la. They're going to but if you just immediately just go to well, first of all, I have a second account that I make everybody my friend. And then I slide into their DM. And I make them my friend because some people, if you're not their friend and you slide in their DM, they're not going to see it. But if you're chilling on your phone and bing, you got a friendship request, bing, you got something in your message box, you're going to take your phone out and look at it and be like, oh, hey, why you want to be my friend? Hey, you sent me a message? Yes, I'm a realtor. I saw your post. Let's talk. I've got the most clients that way.
No, it's perfect because everybody, you can do the paid ads, you can do all those things, but just intentional, follow through networking and just doing those things. And, Facebook is what it is, but everybody gives it a bad rap, but it's also, where everybody is right now. So it's like, it's like you have to outweigh the good with the bad and filter out what you don't need and use what you do need because, I tell everybody, nobody else is going to pay your bills. So
exactly.
You got to pay your bills. So, man, I love this so much. If anybody wants to get a hold of you, how they DM you, how they slide in those DMs.
The best way to contact me is on Facebook. I'm Doreen Sidney, Realtor.
I love it. Well, guys, if you like this episode, make sure you share it with your friends. Doreen's going to be running the country here in the near future. It might be mayor, it might be president of some small island. We don't even know. But she's super impressive, and I just want to thank you so much for coming on.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you for listening to Construct Your Life with Austin Linney. If you enjoyed this episode, be sure to rate, review, subscribe, and pay it forward by sharing with a friend. Most importantly, take this opportunity to start constructing your life by taking immediate action on what you learned. For show notes, resources, and more information on one-on-one coaching with Austin, visit constructyourlifepodcast.com.